Okay, I'm with John Sham. Can you introduce yourself and say where you're from, how old you are, and your profession, please?
My name is John Sham. I am 29 years old. I'm from Rochester, New York originally. I live in Annapolis, Maryland now. And full-time, I am a video journalist for the Baltimore Sun Media Group. And I also part-time teach at the University of Maryland, College Park, and also run a freelance videography business on the side, mostly doing weddings, but also legal documentary work and basically whatever somebody will pay me to do. So.
Very cool. So how did you get into journalism, and particularly video journalism?
Yeah, so I majored in English in college, and honestly, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it professionally. One day, one of my professors was like, "Hey," I went to University of Buffalo, by the way. Professor was like, there's a journalism certificate program. Maybe you would be interested in that. And so I entered into it. I found out that I really liked writing, specifically feature writing. So I kind of wanted to pursue that. And then I started here at Maryland for the master's program, and about halfway through the program, I kind of decided that I thought I was a good writer, but maybe not a great writer. But I had figured that I was a better videographer than the other people in my class. So I decided to pursue that, where I thought I would have more success than pursuing a career as a writer. So that's kind of how it happened. I mean, I've always had like a love of film, and I'm always watching old movies and learning about different techniques of movies. And I used to make home movies with my friends, so it was kind of nice to be able to apply a love of mine to my profession.
Absolutely. That's,
Yeah.
so how would you say, like being a videographer or video journalism, has that helped you in the professional world in terms of like with getting jobs? Like, so you work for the Baltimore Sun, I think. So how's that different than if you're just a written print journalist?
Print journalist, yeah. So most of the jobs that I've had, or I've had 3 professional jobs. One of them was at a TV station, and I wasn't really doing video work. But after that, I was hired to do video work. And so the places I've been hired, I've really been the first person who's been brought in specifically to do video at these jobs. It's kind of that I got into the field at the right time. It's kind of like getting into the field at the wrong time, but I made it the right time because once I entered the field, that's when newspapers started to use a lot more video. And so my first job was at the Daily Record doing video for them, which I did for about 1.5 years, and then I moved to the Baltimore Sun Media Group, where I've been for about 3 years. And they didn't really have somebody like me in the past dedicated to video, so it's definitely helped me kind of secure, if I want like a long-term role, because video is only going up at newspapers. They only want more and more video. It's not like they're cutting back and cutting back. So I mean, it's worked out for me in that way. I mean, I think that if I really wanted to, I may have been able to be a print journalist, but I've definitely loved what I've done. It allows me to be creative while also telling people stories, and and I've been able to also take that, and like I mentioned, the freelance stuff has, obviously newspapers don't pay very well, so that's been a great supplement to my income, to be able to do stuff on the side with my video skills, which I probably wouldn't have been able to do as much if I was a writer, where I think it's harder to get freelance work. So.
Absolutely. Sounds like more fun anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And you're lucky because video like that is what's becoming more popular. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I'm
really good.
trying to convince people that, because when you are getting married, everyone hires a photographer, and I'm trying to convince people that video is just as important as a photographer, because a photographer can't capture the best man's toast or the vows or something like that. You really need video to actually tell the story of the wedding that you're having. So I think it obviously you're not going to find a wedding where someone's not hiring a photographer, and I'm trying to kind of cut in there and show people that video is just as important. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's like reliving the moment.
Right, because there are certain things that photographers can do a great job capturing specific still moments, but they can't capture a great moment that lasted a minute, or some of the stuff that I would film, at the wedding, obviously, is the bride getting ready, getting dressed, and obviously the ceremony, the cocktail hour, stuff like that, the speeches, the father-daughter dance, the mother-son dance, and then the party. And I think there's certain aspects of that are much better if you were to do them as a video than just as a photo. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's where I'm actually trying to get to the point where I can do that full time and quit my job. But
Really?
yeah, so don't post that on the internet. It's not yet, but
Well, I was gonna say, what made you decide to do the freelance, and why did you pick weddings in particular? Because it's they need videographers.
Yeah, I mean, because people are always getting married. A photographer friend of mine who does weddings, had told me that she had a friend who was getting married, and I did their wedding, and I didn't really have any experience doing that before, but I did it, and it turned out, from the feedback I got, it turned out great. And so I was like, this was, it's pretty easy. It's actually a lot easier in some ways than the documentary style journalism that I normally do, because you're not worrying about interviews. Basically what you do is you just shoot a bunch of footage in slow motion and slow it down and put some corny music under it, and people are willing to pay you a lot of money to do stuff like that. So if you can do a good job, people are definitely willing to pay for it. I have this one wedding that's New Year's Eve this year that's themed after Great Gatsby, and there's going to be 300 people there, and it's going to be at this fancy hotel, and so I think it's going to be really cool visually to be able to film something like that with people who are all dressed up in 1920s style clothing, and it kind of allows me a little more time to be creative. I can try and add some of that theme, and I'll probably have to watch the Leonardo DiCaprio movie again before going to the wedding, but so yeah, I mean, the reason I do it is just, it's because there's a need there that needs filling. I think a lot of wedding videographers tend to go more toward they'll just film everything and they'll put together an hour. My method is more to put together a 10-minute video that the couple actually wants to watch year after year. I'm sure my parents have a wedding video, but I don't think they ever watch it. I don't even know if I've seen it, because it's not that interesting to watch an hour-long video of something. If you're watching a 10-minute video, my idea is that you would want to watch it again maybe every year on your anniversary. You'd want to show it to your friends and family, and your friends and family would actually want to watch it and enjoy it and not be bored by the fact that it was an hour long. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do now, is convince people that yes, that video is just as important, and it can be just as integral to your memories of your wedding as anything else. So.
Absolutely. One of my dad's friends' sons got married, and it was the first video I've ever seen. It was short. It was 10 minutes, and it showed their vows. It's they wrote their own vows, and just really special moments like that throughout the whole thing, and it made it so powerful. I felt like I was there. So yeah. I think that's a really good idea.
Cool. Yeah.
I think
that's fine.
We're good.
Probably have plenty of time.
Do I just hit the red
Yeah.
button?